Yeah. All right. So, Forrest Miller, thank you so much for being with me today. How you doing? What's up?
I'm doing all right. I'm
Yeah.
on my nice little break from Give Them an Argument. I'm still doing editing for like, I don't know, 5 different shows right now, but
Really?
I'm on my like producing break, which is kind of nice.
Like like during the day, you have like a little break in the day that you give
No, I'm
yourself?
saying like
Oh,
we're
okay.
on
Things are
a,
like wrapped up.
we're on a general hiatus. Like
Okay.
Ben decided to call it as like season 1 and season 2. So we finished season 1 and we're like waiting until May to start season 2, I think.
Did you see that coming? Was it like a unilateral decision along the way? He's like, I'm going to do season 2 and take a break.
His book's coming out on the 1st.
Right.
So,
what's his book? Yeah.
His book is Canceling Comedians While the World Burns. It's really good, but people are pissed off about the title, I think.
Why? Hold on. Are comedians mad? Who's mad?
All the comedians. They want to keep getting canceled. No, I don't know. Just it's always, anytime you criticize cancel culture in any way and like the left's reaction to it, there's a good portion of Twitter leftists that want to keep that going, I think. And I mean, like with I wouldn't say with good reason, but like for good reasons, I'd say. I think that there's like an idea that, you need to defend cancel culture or even deny that cancel culture exists because I don't know, it's something that gives people a voice, but like that's not real power. You know what I mean? Like it's just kind of a voice along the sidelines, I guess. It's a culture war thing, and I don't know. So Ben's book is kind of criticizing different ways that like the left, I don't know, different like psychologies, I guess, that we all have or pathologies, I guess is the word I was looking for, that we all engage in that makes, getting power a lot harder. And I don't know, I think it'll piss off the right people, but it'll definitely piss off some.
Awesome. That's great to hear. Hey, so
he went on a he just debated like Gene Epstein, like the Soho Forum guy in Florida, and we took a season break.
Okay. What else, Forrest? What else in the where are we now? Where are they now? Category. What else can you tell about yourself? Give yourself the big shout out. You've mentioned Give Them an Argument show, which is one of the shows on which you produce the podcast. Do you do any video as well, or is it just the audio?
We do all video.
Oh my gosh, video sucks, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, we have an audio version, but we do the video on StreamYard, and
all right,
then we just rip the audio off that. Which I don't know. I don't know if you how much you know about video, like audio podcasting as opposed to video. Like I've never been like that into that. Like I've always been a video guy, but yeah, I don't know. It seems like 4 hours. Like we do like shows that end up lasting like 3 or 4 hours sometimes, and just because like Ben interviews like 2 people, and we have like different segments and stuff, and it kind of just drags on. And I don't know if like we've been talking about the fact that like maybe 4 hours of audio isn't necessarily what people want to listen to. So I don't know. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. As like I know you're doing kind of like podcast training almost right now for people.
In a way, I do it for free, as to say I'm not really sure what the fuck I'm doing.
No, but like, because I've worked on so many shows at this point, like, at least helped out with so many shows, and everybody always has like a different strategy for what they think works. But then everybody cushions it, including me. I mean, I'm not, not saying that I'm different than this in any way, shape, or form. I'm definitely not. But everybody kind of just sits there and goes, yeah, well, I don't really know, but this is like, what I think it is. Like the algorithm is the craziest part of that. Like nobody understands how the YouTube algorithm works at all.
Yeah, and I'm trying to tap into that right now for the first time. I don't even know what to expect. Yeah, I'm just trying to give it constant content.
Yeah. Well, if you have any questions, ask me, and I'll tell you. I don't really know, but
yeah, maybe I will have some specifics as we go. It may be one of these things where we pin it and we come back to it and really dig in someday. But I don't even know fucking clue what I'm doing on YouTube. I pretty much take these interviews, which are an hour long. The format is to keep it, in a range that I might be willing to listen to. Dude, an hour is still a lot for me because I watch content on my stream sort of like all day when I'm not doing the interviews. And I don't know, there's like a sort of there's a good number, like 20 minutes. I love 20 minutes. That's like what I'm willing to pull up and show myself and show the stream. I don't know. I'm more willing to do something like that. If it's hell an hour, which is the content that we do right here, it's pushing it. But this is more coalition building, and it also happens to be content building at the same time. And I don't know. Maybe one day I'll learn how to really tap into YouTube. But
well, I love the producer training idea. I've seen that you've done some streams on that, and I think that that's something that really needs to be, I guess, taught more. Because I mean, I went to college for video editing. I mean, New Paltz, which is like a state college in the town that I live in, but still, like, you know, they teach you how to do things as if you're going to go into like movies, and they teach you how to do things as if you're going to go work for TV shows. But like nobody has any idea how to teach you. Like there's no like podcasting. Like there's no podcasting classes. You know what I mean? Like they don't teach that yet, which is understandable, I guess. But it's still formatted for a certain kind of content development, I think. I mean, all kinds of training are. And then I feel like the people that teach, like, oh, I'll teach you podcasting. Like I've never heard of any of the people that teach like those online podcasting seminars. So I'm like, this is someone running a fucking grift, like that somebody paid a bunch of money to, and they're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. Like, don't worry, we can start it's like the masterclass thing. Like nobody in a masterclass knows how to teach. Like they never hire teachers for that, you know?
It's sus as fuck. It's like going to bartending school. You don't learn by going to bartending school. You learn bartending by like being behind the bar. So, you know, either figure out how you can get the job or from a friend or someone like that, you know, hook you up or like, or, you know, grind it out as a bar back, you know, sort of one of those things. You just got to go do it.
I've worked in security for bars. Like I don't know, like there's a local like club in town that it closed. It was fucking awesome sometimes. Like they started doing when I was like a teenager, before I could go in there, they had like, I don't know, before it like really got into like a radio thing or whatever, like they had like UK grime dubstep. Like they were the one bar around the club that played that. So they would have like all these people come in. And then New Paltz ended up having this guy Lucid that plays with Bass Nectar, and he like hit it big and has been releasing albums and like toured with Bass Nectar for a while. Hey. And he was like my old roommate's roommate. So it was kind of funny. Like they had I guess because they had so many people that were like, you know, dubstep DJs that were just starting out that would like show up in town, that people started to like actually get to know them. So like we had like Space Jesus come play at one point at like 4 a.m, and like he like hung out at my friend's house for, I don't know, for like a few hours and just like smoked with him and stuff. And then like a couple years later, I look at like these big lineups, and he's like on the middle of like the lineup of some of the biggest like I don't know, some of the biggest like festivals around.
Like before the names get too small on the poster.
yeah, at least big enough that you can see them on the poster.
Yeah. Hey, awesome. Did you want to name any other projects that you specifically podcasts or any other projects you're working on?
Well, I don't know. I'm back to, I think, helping out with doing documentaries for Jacobin, hopefully.
Oh, and, really?
A little bit of short ones. Well, so originally, you know Vic Biana?
No.
He's another editor. So he was friends with Michael Brooks. I mean, when I worked for Michael, and we did these like histories. And Vic was kind of, I don't know, he was working for Now This for a long time, so he like was really good at formatting like internet documentaries or like internet, I guess, video productions, like that short form content. So I worked with him for like a year and a half pretty much, and we did a bunch of these. I think we did 12 illicit history documentaries. Like, so once a month that we would drop them, and him and Michael would like plan them out, and then I would kind of do the grunt work. And it started like so I was doing more and more work on them until eventually I was like, all right, I need like my nice little like co-editing name on the thing. But we kind of pitched an idea at one point to Jacobin that we wanted to continue doing those when Michael passed. And we released 2 of them. We released one on populism at the beginning of the year, and we released I can't even remember what the other one was. It feels like it's so long ago. The first one that we did. But so I guess we're doing a third one, but Vic is back to doing illicit histories, and so we kind of have split up from that. So that's one project. I mean, I don't know. I edit a bunch of stuff right now. I edit weekends for Jacobin with like Anna and Nando. and I edit the Jacobin Show, which is really good. And then I do work for like Left Reckoning with Matt and David, which I guess shout out to them. They've been killing it. They've been really carrying on Michael's legacy.
Mm-hmm.
I help out with like Katie Halper once in a while, doing clips for her. So I don't know. I've been kind of all over the place with stuff.
You are busy.
Yeah.
Dang. And a lot of that's video. I wonder what kind of video card you got. Yeah, I want to update my video card. I want to like be able to edit more and export more. It just takes so long. It drives me nuts with the video. It takes so much.
I'm pretty sure I still have a 2015 MacBook Pro, so it's like it definitely takes a long time, and longer and longer. And Adobe really fucks you. I feel like every update it gets slower. I mean, I don't know. I think that might be imagination, but it feels like every update of Adobe it gets slower.
It might be by design. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would be surprised.
Forced convalescence is the term for that, I think.
Yeah. Dude.
Or no, planned obsolescence. I think forced convalescence is a Bright Eyed song. But planned obsolescence is the concept of Macs that, you know, every update they get a little bit slower, and for a long time they couldn't prove that, and then a couple years ago they had that lawsuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They did. They showed that they were slowing them down.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, just so you can handle the fuck you, dudes." Yeah. Hey, well then I believe that brings us to the part of the conversation where we can talk, Forrest, about your leftward bound journey. A little discussion here about your pathway to leftism, left adjacentism. You do not have to define your ideology or politics in any way. You're encouraged to if you like, however. How about we go ahead and start with that, and we'll let you dig in.
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable at this point calling myself a democratic socialist. I really wasn't for a long time. Okay. I guess I kind of went by the social democratic label, but I don't know. It's been like a nonstop leftward journey, I'd say, starting from kind of just being like a progressive liberal that, I mean, I guess Bernie's really what turned me further, like watching Bernie get kind of cheated out of it the first time and not taken seriously. And I mean, obviously there's some criticisms of, you know, it kind of was just originally formulated as like a campaign to push Hillary Clinton left. Like, you know, nobody really thought, like when Bernie opened up, it was to like 10 people pretty much. Like I remember seeing it on the Daily Show and they were kind of making fun of like, oh, look, nobody's here. And Bernie was like announcing his candidacy in 2015. But like, it really, I mean, it caught on really fast, and watching kind of the DNC kind of fuck him out of that completely every chance they could. Not that he would have necessarily won, like, not that he would have won if everything was fair, but like it seemed like even if every single thing was, like, I don't know, it seemed like any chance to fuck him to show their I don't know, to show the fact that they have control over this process, I guess, and you don't, and that you should just stop trying. Which seems like, you know, interestingly enough, has been Obama's tack every time he talks to students. It's to be like, oh, don't worry, like, you know, you're gonna come back around to the center, like we're gonna grind you down. Yeah, so I started out kind of as a progressive liberal in like a college town, and I didn't really know that politics went farther than that. Like I knew that like socialism and Marxism existed. I was interested in learning about like the Black Panther Party. I mean, still am, but and I was taking like classes in college, like, because I switched into like taking a 4-year, like going to a 4-year college after 3 years of doing, you know, like my associates, and like the first class that like kind of got me chewed into it was taking modern China. And so like I didn't have the grade point average to completely get into a 4-year college, and the modern China like history professor kind of like wrote a letter and was like, no, he's been a good student taking this class at the 4-year college. So I was like, all right, I'll take Cultural Revolution, which didn't really think anything of it, and then it kind of, I got like fascinated by Maoism.
Yeah, right. Hey.
So that was kind of an accident, like not expecting that this is what I wanted to do. I've always wanted to be kind of like a director / like documentary filmmaker.
Okay.
And so I was trying to like apply, like college got finished. I was trying to apply to, you know, all of these different like regular media jobs. And then I was in Brooklyn one day, and I was at like my 12th, like the 12th place I had applied to, and it was like an unpaid internship, and I still didn't get it. And I was like, and I could tell, like, you can go into like an interview and you could tell like I didn't get this.
Yeah.
So I was like, damn, they don't even want like my unpaid labor, let alone like
assholes.
Yeah. So I was at like a Brooklyn food court, and like Michael was standing there, like Michael Brooks, and I just and I was watching Majority Report a lot. Like it was kind of it's kind of like the Sam Cedar style progressive liberal to socialist pipeline, I guess, for a while when Michael was on it and Jamie was on it, and so yeah, so I was watching that and I was like, you know what, like this, like Michael Brooks seems approachable. Like I'll say what, like what's up. Like if I see someone that is like kind of famous, like I'm not necessarily going to walk up to them. Like I've never been that kind of person, but I walked up to Michael and we had like a nice conversation, and he ended up like messaging me after I said I edited stuff and saying like, oh, like would you want to come down to Majority Report studio? Like we're looking for people to edit TMBS clips. And so like, yeah, so like being a part of that and like really feeling engaged in that work and engaged in, like this kind of politics, like made me comfortable enough to over time, like really be like, all right, like democratic socialism is the name of what I am. For a long time, it was like, oh, well, like, like I don't think things can go too far, too fast. And then at one point, within like around 2020, 2019, 2020, I guess I really am like, no, like this is hit the breaking point completely. I mean, I think that there still is an electoral solution, but it's going to take a long time, and it feels like we're kind of hitting a breaking point. So it's been a long road from kind of being like well, Bernie seems pretty cool to like, no, fucking democratic socialism is what I am. I think that the electoral solution of this is like getting like a lot more Congress people that are like, the squad type of, but like further left even. And I think normalizing that and getting a lot more people into like political positions, all like not just in Congress, but like, on the state level, local level. I think that's the eventual road to change. But like in the meantime, I think that kind of pushing things to burn enough down that people realize this isn't really working for them, because I think a lot of people intrinsically know this isn't working for them, but don't feel like they have a political solution to it. And I think that people really need to feel like politics can change their lives. Like, I like him a lot, but Ronan Burtonshaw said that on an episode of TMBS, and I've said that a whole bunch of times since. I think it was the last episode of TMBS that Michael did. He said that people really need to feel like politics can change their lives, and that's kind of formulated my ideology since. I'm like, yeah, that's the goal. Like that has to be the goal, because people know that this isn't working. People know that neoliberalism is literally a fucking death cult, and that there has to be something else. But the more that we let establishment politicians, we let the Democratic Party, we let the Republican Party like really grind down what people think is possible, the more it's like there's no alternative. But there like is an alternative, and there's an alternative in a lot of places across the world, and they've kind of shut our eyes to the rest of the world. Like, I mean, in general, but I don't know.
Love it, Forrest. That's based. Hey, we got some good time here. Wondering if there's anything else.
20 on 420, by the way.
I'm sorry. Happy 420.
420.
It's 420. Oh, I'm central, but I'll smoke with you if you're insisting.
No, I mean
Don't twist my arm here.
I haven't. I have to go get my stash and stuff, but it's the first legal 420 here.
Congrats! Yeah, that's.
I don't know. I feel like every Cuomo scandal, like things get a little bit better. Like he's trying to distract by kind of doing something cool enough that people are like, huh, things might be changing. Maybe we'll lay off Cuomo for a minute. So I was like thinking about it yesterday, and I guess the new Cuomo scandal is that he paid for some of his book, like his coronavirus book, which already was a fucking dumb thing to do, but he's like profiting off it immensely because coronavirus is still in the middle of happening when he's writing this book about how to handle the pandemic, like this heroic story, because the media was treating him like some kind of god that needed to get statues and stuff. And obviously Cuomo is the person that like takes that to his head automatically. And So I guess he was using like state resources, including like his state phone, like the phone that the state gave him, so that he could to like write notes for his book, and he was using like all these state resources to get his book published. So that's like the new thing that they're investigating, like how many state resources or how much in state resources did Cuomo really use to get his book published. So I was thinking like
Oh
maybe the next thing
man.
is like Cuomo comes out and like legalizes shrooms or something like.
And then they drop it. Yeah, just keep pinning them down until they give you everything you need.
See, I knew that Cuomo was corrupt the second he got elected, and he put together this commission to he put together like this commission because New York State politics has always been corrupt, so he put like this corruption investigation commission together, and he said, like, I'm going to be the most transparent governor we've ever had. Within weeks, they started investigating him, and he disbanded his corruption, like his oversight corruption council. That was all his own people. Um,
So
and that was his first year in
red
office.
flag, dude. Red flag. Oh
He started
gosh.
looking into the contracts of like Cuomo family associates that had
Hey.
that he was like giving all these high positions to, and like these government contracts to, like just people he was friends with, and he was like, nope, pulling the plug on that.
Oh my gosh. That's the Cuomogenization of America.
Yeah. Um.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, so it's not surprising that everything else has followed from that. I mean,
Yeah.
he had the IDC for a while, which was just like a bunch of Democrats that he had caucus with the Republicans, that everybody knew was him. Like, that he was behind, and he was like standing on stage being like, these Democrats have to come back into the fold. And, but he was like meeting with them behind closed doors being like, no, like make sure that like the Republican, assembly or the Republican state Senate leader, because they were all state senators. And he was like, make sure that the Republican state Senate leader stays like only vote for him, so that the Democrats can take control of the state Senate, because they had won the most seats by one at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like 51 to, or I don't know. It was like, so there was like, it was like 51% of the state senators were Democrats, and like 49%, I think, were Republicans. But the Republican state Senate leader kept being in power because these like 8 state senators had broken off. Or it might have been 9 by the end of it, but I think it was 6 first, and then 2 more joined, and then another one joined. And it was after like these meetings with Cuomo where Cuomo was like promising them things and being like, because Cuomo didn't want to spend the budget if he wants to run for president in the future, which now looks like it's never going to happen, because everybody in New York hates Cuomo, let alone like the rest of the country. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like everybody in New York has always hated Cuomo. But so it started like, I don't know, a bunch of like Democratic Socialists, like DSA candidates ended up beating out the IDC, which is really funny. Like each one was taken out in like 2018 by somebody either endorsed by DSA or like Working Families Party, or like, I don't know. They were all primaried out pretty fast because people kind of were like, all right, I'm sick of this. Like, we voted in Democrats, and now like Republicans are kind of coming up with the legislative agenda for the entire state, and like nothing's moving forward. Like for years and years and years in a row, they said they were going to legalize weed, and everybody, like all the Democrats besides those 9, were pretty much on board for that. But it kept not happening, and Cuomo would be like, oh, sorry, we can't come up with a deal to push that through. And it was a whole, but like the state is actually pretty progressive in the terms of like the voting base. You know what I mean? Like, at least in the city they are, which is kind of where the center of power is located. So I don't know. It's like weird. So for a long time, like all these things that everyone was agreeing on and all these politicians were agreeing on, like wasn't happening. So it seems like maybe now for the first time some of that is happening. And I mean, weed legalization is kind of the first, which I think should be done in every state by ballot initiative. I don't know why we kind of just let politics like run that process at all. I mean, obviously it should be a federal thing, like, but if it can't be a federal thing and it's, state by state, I think every state should get to vote on it on a ballot. It would probably overwhelmingly.
Yeah, give them a chance to vote on it.
Yeah.
So I look at your story here about New York City, and I think about my experience in Chicago. And Chicago is a city run by, Democrats, and still just so many problems that are just so blaring that could be fixed, and yet not. So seriously, like Chicago is one of the things that pushes me left. And I don't know, is it fair to say New York City does the same to you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
live in New York City, so I'm not as in tune
sure.
to it, like as someone that lives there. But I
Mhm.
think one thing that pushes me left is New York State and the disconnect between what it seems like people want and what, like, Cuomo and like so-called Democrats like in Albany are willing to do. And number one, and like their motivations for that, and also just I mean, New York isn't really that progressive. Like Wall Street's here, obviously. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of interests mixing together, and throughout the state, it's kind of funny. Like, you look at the map of every time there's like an election that Trump was in. Like, Trump won huge swaths of the state, but then because the city was like the center of everything. Like, I mean, it was like kind of mixed up there. Like Hillary, well, Biden won more counties than Hillary did. I'm pretty sure here, but like
Mhm.
there's so many counties, and then like the few at the bottom that are like the city and like parts of Long Island kind of call it. So it's kind of an interesting thing. Like upstate, people kind of think they're in the South, which is one of the most surreal things you'll do because it's like the beautiful leaves and like maple syrup and all this stuff as if you're in Vermont or something like that. And then people will have like a Confederate flag outside of their house. And it's just like, or like we drive around with one on their truck and it's just like, dude, where the fuck do you think you are? Like,
It doesn't make sense.
um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, the disconnect between what actually ends up passing in the state and what people want definitely pushes me left because I just think the process needs to be way more democratic than it is. Um,
Yeah.
it's kind of funny though. I'm reading Nixon Land right now. I put it down
Well,
for a couple months while I was busy, and I came back to it, and they're going through like the 1968 like protests in Chicago. Like right now is the part of it that I'm at in that
oh.
book. So like I'm on a Chicago heavy reading zone right now.
Mhm.
Reading about like Mayor Daley and the Daily Machine versus like Tom Hayden and the Black Panther Party, and so I'm literally on the chapter on the 1968 Democratic Convention right now.
Yippee.
I was listening to that like 20 minutes before I came on here.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's fascinating. Hey, whenever someone brings that up, I have to tell folks that my grandfather was a Chicago police officer during that time.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Was he alive during your like lifetime?
My grandfather, yeah. Still is, yeah.
Oh, does he like what is his political orientation? Like, is it?
Oh, he's on the right. Yeah, let's just say that I think this is a quote from him. He literally said there's never been a protest in his life that he's ever seen worth being a part of.
I mean, but I feel like that. Well, I guess he lived through all the civil rights protests, so that's pretty fucking tough. Yeah, it's interesting, like reading anything about that time period, and obviously, anyone that opposes protests is vastly on the wrong side of history at this point. Like that's the consensus of, anybody. But it's interesting, like the layers of it, like because you see it now too. Like there's like the layers of like because there are people obviously back then and now, but I mean less so outwardly now that were just straight up racist. That
Yeah.
like you know what I mean like I like that level of like KKK fucking racist. And I mean it was more common at that point, but like there's always that level of it. But then there's like different levels of moderation where it's like people are like, well, I agree with like what the protests want, but like hasn't this gone far enough? Like obviously
Yeah.
there's the law and order thing, which plays a big part of the Nixon land story. That
Hey.
it's interesting like the moderation or like the delusions that people have to tell themselves for these goals, or like even just like socialized, like the socialized nature of it, I guess. Like the people like don't want to seem outwardly racist to their friends or to people around them, and then so like the loops that they have to draw around themselves, like I'm not racist, but, and then I'm not racist, but, like, you know what I mean, like, and then the farther into social progress that we get, like the more of those kind of like the more of a the bending over backwards, I guess, that people have to do to like just kind of say the same things that the dyed in the wool racists are saying anyway.
Yeah.
but I still see them all over Facebook and shit. Like,
Oh my God.
you know, like people being like, oh, like I support the protests in theory, but, and it's like, you know, you're already just admit you're on the wrong side of history a lot of time. Like most of the time, you have to say that, but like,
it's a big smelly butt.
Yeah. And then people don't really go out of their way to learn history. So like, you know, like a lot of the same things that the right is parroting right now. Like I even I get surprised as someone that's interested in history. Like the history of like terms, like Trump saying like when the looting starts, the shooting starts. Which I made the joke that I saw you guys posting the Lori Lightfoot thing, and I was making the joke that she's one scandal away from saying when the looting starts, the shooting starts.
Oh, yeah.
But
she's a cop.
yeah. She was. I always ask like Kenzo this, but like she really chaired those the police oversight board, like those hearings, right, in the wake of like in the wake of a police shooting. Like that's how she came to prominence and got even like the like she was like the quote unquote progressive like police accountability crusader or something at that time, right? She claimed.
You got me there. Yeah, I'm no authority on that subject. But I would, yeah, I know she was on some sort of like, it seemed to be like an almost like a pro police kind of type organization. I have a very basic understanding, if any understanding at all. So, but
what I understood from Kenzo,
yeah, not a cop, not exactly a cop.
No, but what I understood from Kenzo is that she was like, so in the wake of the shooting that brought down Rahm Emanuel, she was the
Laquan McDonald, yeah,
Laquan, like she was
yep.
She was the person that they had hired at one point as like a police accountability, like the progressive police accountability person. So she was supposed to be chairing, like deciding like what the police, I guess, had done wrong in the case and like whether there had been a cover up. So she was seen as kind of like a compromise candidate from that. I don't know. Kenzo would know way better than me, but I remember him saying that when we talked to him at one point. So I didn't really know anything about her until recently.
Here's the thing. Since I became a leftist since she was elected, if that helps to sort of like explain that. Like honestly, it to me, it explains my ignorance in the subject. Otherwise, I'd probably be able to speak to it in the sense that Kenzo has. In the terms of how she's responded to the protests over the past year, it's been appalling. She's effectively a cop. You couldn't tell the difference. If she were a cop, you wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Just to put it that way.
Well, I mean, politicians, they don't have to be cops. You know what I mean? Like the cop is the cop is the voting base to be satiated. You know what I mean? Like it's such an outsized voting base that, you know, politicians feel like they have to be overly deferential to it. You know, you lose the cop and then you lose the city. You know what I mean? So I'm not defending that whatsoever. It's fucking abhorrent. And they're, you know, like a lot of them, like it doesn't surprise me at all how often that we find out that, like, you know, all of these cops have like right wing, like far right sympathies and like fascist sympathies, like to the point of like, you know, joining like Facebook groups that, why would you, if you're a fucking city police officer, put that on record? But they seem to do it
because they're so fucking dumb. But go on, yeah.
You know, I mean, to be in that position, you kind of have to have that kind of tendency, I feel like. Or, you know, I mean, there's obviously some quote unquote like centrist progressive people that want to like change the police department from the inside, but I feel like they get pushed out really fucking fast. We have one of the worst. Ulster County, where I lived for a while, had a sheriff that was so bad that Trump actually like gave him a nice award and everything. Like literally had him to the White House to talk about how good his strategy is. So that should probably tell you about how awful that the sheriff in this county was. And he started this thing called Urgent, Ulster Regional Drug Enforcement and Narcotics. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I don't remember exactly what the acronym stood for. But what they would do is they decided that low-level drug offenders, because we had a lot of opioids in this county, we still do, and like a lot of deaths from opioids at the time. And what they decided is that they felt like they could grab people from the lowest rungs of like a drug dealer's thing, which usually it's just some fucking 20-year-old kid that like is selling prescription pills, you know what I mean? Or like, like heroin that he got from like either the city or like, somebody that he knows there. Like it's not like these big drug like kingpins in this area. And so they would grab these fucking 20-year-old kids and then try to find out who their suppliers were, threaten them with like the most possible time they could give them. Like they would just intimidate the fuck out of them in the police station. And then they would raid these houses one by one, and they would try to work their way up the chain with like such efficiency, I guess, that like we had like some of the highest drug arrests of any county, and Trump like invited this guy to the White House to talk to him about it at one point. So he had like a picture on Facebook that he was posting. He's like, "Look, I met the president." And after seeing that picture, like this county voted him out really fast because we had elected sheriffs, and he got replaced by this interesting guy that was like a state police officer for a while that actually is like somewhat progressive about the way he does things. Like he decided to stop that program. He decided that instead of he's going to like push for people to go to rehabs instead of going to jail for drug offenses, like if they're low level drug offenses and if it's not drug dealing. Like, so it's interesting to go from, we like kind of had a full pendulum swing because of this guy getting to meet Trump. And like putting the picture everywhere. Mm-hmm. But
yeah. Hey Forrest, I think we let me just think about our format here, how much time we got, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I'd love to ask, given the opportunity to distill your life, your experiences, your leftward bound journey, what might you do if you had the chance to impart some wisdom, some knowledge upon a younger version of yourself or someone like that maybe watching? And I mean, this is Be Best, # Be Best.
All right. Well, is it myself or someone else that's watching? Because myself, I'd probably go back in time and be like, listen, don't be fucking interested in politics in any capacity.
Just get away, the whole thing. Get out. But okay, so now that you're in, okay. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's just been a long time getting here to this point. And I guess I guess for younger people, I feel like younger people have a lot of times their rhetoric is a little bit unhelpful. And I feel like, we should have real political goals and not throw any either like elected official or that like, is sympathetic to our goals or seems sympathetic to our goals, like not throw them to the wolves as fast as we do. And,
his name
kind of, I know I said it and I wasn't really serious when I said it, but like the more anarchical, I guess, rhetoric of like, everything needs to be abolished and everything needs to be like burnt to a crisp, doesn't really help things, I don't think, because I don't think most people are there. Or like even like revolutionary rhetoric, even as like even said in an ironic way, I guess, like some of the more revolutionary like tweets that we throw out there, like the one that I was thinking about the other day, that a lot of college socialists that are like, a lot of them are white college socialists in around here say, they're like, oh, like they're always like, remember, this is stolen land, like, which is like the decolonization effort should definitely go on, like, and I completely believe in like land back movements and stuff like that, but just like, the moralizing guilt of like reminding people that they're constantly on fucking stolen land, like if it's not like a politician and if it's just like, like your community or whatever, like what are they supposed to do about it? Like most people rent, you know what I mean? Like most people, I don't know, like it's not like if you picked up and like suddenly, all like everybody in any kind of, I guess, what they see as a position of power in their community, like went back to where their ancestors came from or something, that they would like they wouldn't be, like the world that exists now already exists. Like figure out how to maneuver within that. So that's like one thing, I guess. The moralizing in general and like the constant like forced guilt on people and the constant cancellations and stuff like that, I'm definitely not down with whatsoever. I feel like we're just too quick to do that, and I feel like we need to be a little more chill, and I also feel like we need to be a little more welcoming. Which you're doing a good job with this show and kind of having a lot of people come to chill and have melding of the minds. But I think that needs to happen more. And I think people need to know that, that we're serious enough about ourselves that, that it isn't a bunch of like college student radicals running around like just kind of yelling slogans. And I also think that we need to let people know that we're not just constantly moralizing and making, everybody that doesn't agree with us on one issue feel completely bad about themselves. So those are, two big ones.
That's wonderful, Forrest. That's like such good advice. I'm like looking forward to like going back and like listening again and just letting it, stew. Like, cause baby, we got a stew going.
I mean, I've been thinking about it a lot lately. I mean, it goes back to the conversation about kind of like a political journey, I guess. Like what, like things I would either tell myself or just like bad traits that I've had in general. And like, I've definitely been part of like the, as many cancellation pile-ons on Twitter and stuff. Like it just is incentivized. But you think about like, all right, like you're no longer, you stop thinking about yourself as like an individual and like, you're like proving to people that you feel the way you do. Like, how do you prove to people, as many people as possible, like be part of an in-group, like prove to people that you're, that you're serious about your politics and you're as radical as possible. And like, and you stop, like, if it's a real political project you want to build, you think about how do you bring people in, not like, how do you prove to, the most intense core of people that are already there that you're serious about it. So I think that that's really like, every move and decision you make, like, I mean, obviously it's fun to like joke around about stuff, but if you're going to be actually outraged about stuff, like you have to think like, how do I put this in a way that isn't just going to drive away as many people as I bring in? And like, how do you attack a power structure and how do you attack an economic system while letting people know that once that's taken down, that there's going to be something for them on the other side of it and something that they're going to be doing better at? Because I think really like under capitalism and especially under neoliberalism, like the question people have in the end isn't, it's not like what, it's not like, all right, if this goes away, is my life going to be more fair? It's like, I don't know. I think about this a certain way, and I'm trying to like put it into words because I never really talk about it. I think it's that people need to know that there's something for them on the other side, I guess. And the threat that people have whenever they think of capitalism being abolished and something else taking its place is, are things going to get worse for me? Like, I think people intrinsically know that things aren't working right now for them. But the question is always, are things going to get worse for me? And it's like, I don't know, like we're kind of tricked into believing that we have all these freedoms and that we're kind of like that we're like relatively good. Like we're constantly being told like, oh, can you imagine if you were in this dictatorship? Like, so people are constantly thinking about that. And, the question ends up being like, all right, so if everything's stripped away, like, are things going to be worse on the other side of it? And I think that the left needs to start convincing people that things are going to be better on the other side of it. Because the question isn't for most people, are things fair right now? Because everybody knows it's not fair. It's just, are things going to be worse on the other side? And I don't really have the, the answer to how to convince people, because if I, like knew that, we'd have, I'd be selling books right now or something, like, but it needs to be a welcoming philosophy and it needs to be, more democratic. Like, I think that we need to really push the democratic side of it, not like the Democratic Party democratic, but like the democratic, like the democratization of work, the democratization of, the political process, the democratization of the economic process, like and maybe not like ruled by the majority necessarily, but we're not in a democratized state right now whatsoever. We're kind of where like people make these decisions for us, and then the only decision really is like what to buy, like, or like what can you buy? Like it's like I've noticed this going into different things, like they pushed it for the PRO Act, they pushed it for like Medicare for all. Like they're like, well, you have freedom of choice right now, and if things are better, it's going to take away your choice. Don't you want choice? It's like, choice to fucking what? Like, oh yeah, like it's going to take away like your health insurance options, like that you're going to have to pay for your own fucking healthcare. Like that's the choice that you're that you're talking about, like, no, I don't want that choice. I want to be like, we had Abdul Al-Said, who wrote the Medicare for All Citizens Guide. And one of the questions that I talked to Ben about asking him, because he talks about it a lot, is like, when they talk about freedom of choice, like, people don't want freedom of choice for their healthcare providers. People want freedom of choice. People want freedom of choice in terms of like their doctor. Like, they want to be able to see their doctor. Like, that's what people want. Nobody fucking likes their health insurance. And, you know, we've let like Democratic politicians that are like centrist Democrats, like Joe Biden, like, we've let them kind of come up with this myth that people like their fucking healthcare provider. People like fucking Cobra. Like, people like fucking Blue Cross Blue Shield. Like, that's not the choice people want. People like their doctor, and I have a great doctor. You know what I mean? As like a general practitioner, he's like one of those like hippie guys that doesn't push medicine too hard, and I respect that about him. Like, he makes me feel at ease about going to the doctor. Like, I wouldn't want to lose that guy, but like, you know, Medicare for all, you could go see any doctor.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, so, you know, you have to figure out a way to combat things like that, I guess, and to combat the false sense of freedom, and to tell people that there's more freedom than just like economic, like, consumer choice.
So, two things here. They've got better propaganda than us. They have convinced others that there's no alternative to the system we have here. And I had a second thought. What were you just talking about at the end there?
Medicare for all, and doctors.
Medicare for all. Yeah. And I had another thought. Oh, there it goes. There goes all my confidence. Right. Oh, right. And when we make, I'm going to edit that out. I'm going to look smart this whole time. I doubt I forget to edit all the dumb shit out, but because it's me, I don't care about me. I'm vulnerable. Yeah. And when we make schooling free, the argument is, oh, what about all the good doctors? All the rich people are going to take the good doctors. Hey, when schooling's free, we're going to have so many more doctors than you can fucking imagine. Right?
Yeah.
Think about how many more people will become a doctor when money's not an option. And then we'll have a plethora of great doctors, and then the bad doctors will go away. We'll figure it out. Okay, there's a better way forward.
Yeah, exactly. No, exactly.
There it is.
And I'm not a you know, a huge fan of meritocracy as a concept. You know, I mean, like,
what's that? What's a meritocracy? I'm dumb. I'm small brain, dude.
Like rule by elites, or like, you know what I mean, like, just the concept of like, oh, the smart people are like, in a fair system, the smart people would rise to the top by their own merit. Like, I don't necessarily subscribe to that. But when money isn't an option, when you're looking for a doctor, obviously you want a doctor that's being judged on merit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you want a competent doctor, and the it's going to be competitive in the sense of like, how good is the doctor? It's not going to be competitive in the sense of like, you know, like, is this a rich person's doctor or not? Or like, you know, like, doctors, like, the best doctors aren't going to be like trying to do like private practice. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to be open to more people. Which is like, you know, I mean, for the vast majority of people, that's a selling point, I think.
Yo, here's what I just noticed. Like, we're both producers, so like, we sort of get chatting and we get going, baby. You can't stop. And I've done a poor job of moderating this. I'm trying to get this done in an hour. We're gonna get to the leftist inquisition, Forrest. I'm like so stoked. Remember, I want you to think of this as like we're planting the seed here for future conversations where we do get to dig in even more to topics like what we're chatting about right now. But we got to get on. We got to get a move on here. I do have a question for you in the Leftist Inquisition questionnaire. Our first question, Forrest. What's your favorite word?
I don't know. There's just some words that are fun to say.
Yeah.
I can't. I should have looked at it. And thought about it last night.
You can pass or skip any question. There's no stress here. I don't give a fuck.
One word I like a lot is plethora.
Yo.
That's it. Yeah.
Plethora.
Like a, you know, I mean, you know what that word means, right? Like,
like many, a cornucopia.
It's like, I like saying like a plethora of options. Like, I feel like it doesn't make someone sound smart when they say that necessarily, but it makes them sound like well spoken. They're like, because you could just be like many options, or you like a plethora of options.
Just sprinkle that in there. I love it. Forrest, do you have a least favorite word?
No.
Good. Yeah, it's fine.
You know, I'm open to most words.
Yeah. There's so many of them. A veritable plethora. How about a favorite drug? Do you have a favorite vice or a guilty pleasure? Or you could feel free to name one of each.
Well, it's like, you put a bunch in there because everybody
Yeah.
can come up with a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've always liked to drink. I've like a nice drink, but I've quit that for the pandemic because I also have I'm like, I'm one of those people that kind of like gets into that like depressive drinking mode where they're like when that starts going, like it just, so like during the pandemic, I'm like, yeah, like me like not hanging out with anybody and just kind of like working and like, now streaming and doing everything like and just kind of like, depressive pandemic drinking. Like I don't want to be any part of that. So for as long as there's been a pandemic, pretty much I've avoided drinking at all. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that's my answer for
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I mean, I definitely consume too much. That's
Okay.
like my vice. Of just, I mean, whether it's food or like, just anything really, fucking energy drinks, just really anything. Like I'm an over consumer. A thread between, I guess, two of the conversations we were having, I was listening to Capitalist Realism by Mark Fisher. Like I've been re-listening to that because, Ben's book is really good and he quotes Exiting the Vampire Castle throughout it, which is like the Mark Fisher essay. So I got around to reading Ben's book now that I'm not working on his show for a month because we're off. So a big part of his book quotes the Vampire Castle by Mark Fisher. And so I started rereading Capitalist Realism and found out like, cause I really like audiobooks, so I can like do other things like chores around the house or something while I, take in information. And a big section of it is on like students and like students like filling their faces with like food and like just the role that like consumption, like constant consumption plays for students today. And like another thing he's talking about with it is like students listening to like headphones, like, even if music isn't playing loud or isn't playing at all, like students need to feel plugged into the matrix, as he says. So like that's part of his. So he's talking about like that nonstop, like I don't know. So there's an audiobook where it's Russell Brand reading it, which is, it's honestly amazing. It's like a 4-hour audiobook. So he's like, students filling their mouths with non-stop snackage.
It's pretty good, actually. Pretty good,
Yeah.
Russell Brand. You should take that on tour.
Really, I feel like I would be so much more of a dynamic personality if I had Russell Brand's voice, because I talk really fast, but then because it's like my voice and it's kind of flat, like it's just kind of like I'm coming up with stuff. But I feel like if I didn't have any idea, like if I was trying to come up with words and I was talking like Russell Brand, I feel like I could bullshit way better and be like, as they say, like something like that while you're.
That is the danger of having a voice like that. You should actually be happy that it's your voice doesn't have flair. Too much flair. Too much flair. It's got the perfect amount of flair.
The flair.
I love it.
The mustache and the earring, that's all the flair that can really handle.
Yo, you got a fit. I love it. Forrest, we got a power forward here. How about sound? A sound or noise that you love?
I should have looked at these beforehand, because I feel like I feel like there definitely is one, and I'm not like thinking about it right now.
Could circle back next time. Any question?
I always like going like that, like making that sound.
You got a pretty good one.
But then I watched but now it fucking terrifies me, because I watched that one fucking horror movie it's the one that like, what the fuck is the name of that movie? I always forget. It's like the one before the one in Sweden, like that came out a couple years ago. You know that horror movie that came out a couple years ago that's like supposed to be like about like the death of a relationship, and like it's like a cult in Sweden and they like kill people off one by one. I'm terrible at coming up with like names on the spot. Hold on.
No idea. Anyone know? Chat?
Everybody was talking about it last year.
Wait, what's it?
How did I not remember Midsummer's name?
Oh, that's amazing. It just popped right in your mind.
But the movie before that, that director made before that, like Ari Aster or whatever, like has like the little girl behind it, like this little girl like loses her head in the car, and but like she keeps making this noise throughout the movie. She's like a little bit autistic, and she keeps making this noise throughout the movie that's like she does that with her tongue, and then she like keeps popping up as like a fucking ghost and making that noise. And now that sound fucking terrifies me. And I used to love doing that as a kid.
I hate it. I hate it. I'm
Right.
not sure I'll ever hear that the same again.
Yeah. Oh, Hereditary. Hereditary is the name of that movie. Holy
Hereditary.
shit.
There it is.
Yeah.
Wait, that was a sound you love?
I used to really like with my tongue. I still do, because I felt like I could do it different. Because it's easy to do like the one, but like I liked doing like the full one with my tongue. And as like a kid, I don't know. I'm a strange individual, I guess. But then I saw that movie and it's terrified me every time I do that with my tongue ever since.
All right, then how about a sound that you hate, Forrest?
Just any kind of loud bang or like sound of a car backfiring or like anything that sounds like a flash grenade or like
yeah. Scary shit. Startles the shit out of you. Startling sounds, huh?
Yeah. Fuck startling sounds.
Fuck them. They can fuck the fuck off. How about reincarnation? A plant. If you can come back as a plant or a different animal, non-human.
Oh, I thought you meant, do I believe in reincarnation?
Oh, yeah.
Like, what about, like...
Oh, do you? You can do that if you want.
I mean, I don't know. It kind of sucked to come back as anything, knowing how we're destroying everything. Like,
yeah.
Like, I feel like if you could pick a time and an animal, like, I feel like going back before the fucking meteor hit and coming back as, like, a carnivorous dinosaur, you'd be on the top of everything, like a T-Rex or something, or, like, I don't know. Like, I feel like there's a whole... Like, so if you could choose going back in time, I feel like I would choose the top of the food chain on most things because anything else would really fucking suck.
Yo, you can choose to go back in time. No one's ever done it, though. I love it.
Yeah. So
no one's ever gone into the future either. So
well, there is no alternative. So there is no future.
All right.
You'll never. You gotta listen to that audiobook. Hearing Russell Brand be like, "There is no future. There is no alternative." Is the oh, true. T-Rexes can't fucking jack off. So that kind of would suck. That's where the rage comes from, though.
That's where the rage comes from.
And it's just like they can't jerk off, and if you can't find a nice T-Rex to mate with, that's their honey instinct. It's evolution was shrinking hands down, so that you can't jerk off, and then you're fucking, I don't know, like the rage cycle of your brain is an overdrive, and like the testosterone is pumping through your dinosaur heart, and like.
Oh my gosh. Yes, the dinosaurs invented NoFap November.
Yeah, but it was NoFap every month for them out there.
They just passed it down. How about then? Oh my gosh. Oh, the God question. If at the end of your life you find out you're like, oh shit, like God does exist, heaven's real. What would you like to hear God say when you get to heaven?
I like that you have the assumption that like everybody that comes on your show is an atheist. I fuck with that. You're like, what do you mean if and you find out God?
Well, no one fucking knows. That's what I'm getting at.
You muted yourself.
I'm not muted. You're muted. Sorry, I muted myself to Skype there. My thing is, no one knows. So if anyone ever gets to heaven and there is heaven, and if there is a God, everyone's finding out. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I honestly think it would be fucking hilarious if we got to heaven and we found out it was like Allah. No, because I know so many fucking conservative Christians in my family and stuff. And like finding out it was Allah would really just
they'd be like, yeah, but it's the same God. But it would be like, but God would be like, no, you have to say Allah.
Yeah,
like, and it would totally piss him off. No, I can't. It would be hell to them.
I,
That would be
I
hell to them.
I probably shouldn't say this on a public stream, but so somebody in my family, I'm not gonna say who it is, but an older relative in my family,
Yeah.
um, we did like the 23andMe thing,
Yeah.
and I guess it came back, and we're from like southern Italy, or like, you know what I mean, that part of my family's from southern Italy, so they found out they were like half Turkish, like
Oh,
half part, which I think is fucking based,
yeah.
but they were just lividly angry that like they were like, there's no way this could be, and it's like, no, it's all the Mediterranean, like there's no genetic purity in the Mediterranean, like that doesn't fucking exist, like, you know what I mean, like the I mean the it doesn't, like, there's just so many countries in such a small locality, and there's so many different countries because obviously like there's North Africa, there's the Middle East, there's, you know what I mean, like Southern Europe, like they're all in the same sea, and when you're on the same sea, like, you know, trading came out of that sea, so like there's no genetic purity whatsoever in that, and it's just funny to imagine like that they never thought about the possibility that they could be part Turkish, and they're like, oh my god, there's no way.
That's how you know it's infected their like personality, their entire life. Infected, I say.
And that's how I ended up, working for weekends in Anarchasparian, because I was like, see, I'm part Turkish, young Turk. No.
You leveraged that in the interview. I bet.
I mean, I actually didn't meet her until more recently, and she's Armenian. But I was meant to be here. I'm also a young Turk.
Hey, bud, we have about 5-10 minutes left here.
Okay.
Let's name an influential leftist that you would like to meet, and they could be dead or alive. And to specify, if they're dead, they would come back from the dead. And I don't know, somehow it wouldn't be too weird. I don't know. It's a weird hypothetical. Who? I'm sorry?
Thomas Sankara would be cool.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd go to meet him, or he'd just come kind of pop up in his revolutionary hat and start talking to me, but
dude, he's got to fit.
Yeah. So yeah.
What do you think they would say? Maybe about you? What do you think they'd say about the world? What would you like them to say about you? Any of those, all of the questions, whatever you like.
Wait. Anybody?
If he came back from the dead, what would you like for them to say about you? What do you think they'd say about you? What do you think they would think about the world?
I mean, I don't know. It's just such a good revolutionary story. Like, in such a short amount of time, he really turned around everything that you possibly could. I mean, I think one problem with I guess historical figures like even like Sankara is that they're a little bit too conciliatory. Like, even as they're like as revolutionary as possible, like they're too conciliatory to some power structures. You know what I mean? Like, and like the people around them are, and their circle is too small. So I think that is one problem with the revolutionary things that have existed, because they're up against such a large power. You know what I mean? Like, the U.S. is literally the fucking global hegemon of the last century and a half. Like, so that's I don't know. That's one thing, but I just would be cool to meet him and be like, I met Thomas Sankara at one point, like. Well, because he turned. I mean, he helped like Burkina Faso get their independence, and then he kind of really did everything that you possibly could as a leader of of a country. Like, he had people build structures, like infrastructure that had never existed in his country. Like, he was talking about food supply and colonialism, and how the French the French the French government had kind of forced food austerity on them, like through the food supply. Like, that's how colonialism happens. You know what I mean? Like, they control the food, they control the water, they control everything. So like, that's, I don't know, I just thought that was always a really good quote that he had. It was like, if you become food independent, you can break away from colonialism. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Moving along here. Hey, I'm going to skip this one here. Lastly, any streamer tips, be it from the perspective of a producer or as a watcher?
Well, from the perspective of a, I guess, producer, I would just tell people that are interested in video editing that are leftists and that are interested in this line of work just to go for it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, reach out to people you respect that have a podcast, or reach out just in general, like build community. And like, you know, a lot of times people are looking for an editor or looking for a producer or something and don't really know resources. And, you know, like if that's something you want to do, like, I think you should just go for it. And it's not really just taught, because I remember I was listening to podcasts and watching podcasts before I knew that this was really that there even was like a job editing them. Like, I mean, I knew that people did edit them. Obviously, there's clips and stuff, but like I never pieced that together until working for TMBS. Like, so I don't know. I think that's a big one. Just to go for it and like reach out to people, and even if they don't need help with something, like they probably know somebody that does. And a lot of people want to help young leftists. Like, a lot of leftists want to help younger leftists, or like, you know, leftists that are struggling with something, like use their talents for something good. So I think that, you know, just reaching out and like really, I don't know, just really like thinking about ways that you can be employed in this field, and ways that you can be helpful in this field that people might not have thought of, is like a really good way to go.
Hey, normally we do a little time for your questions. Sorry, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Hey, so normally we do this and we give you time for your questions. There's at the same time, there's something that's sort of happening in the news literally right now. I wonder if you'd like to have me try to pipe in the verdict for Derek Chauvin here. I can't. I wonder if I could find a stream where I can go back in time just about 2-3 minutes, because they did just drop the verdict, and I'd love to be able to go back and share this with you. We could watch it together. Just give me a moment here. Thanks for your patience. Do you want to watch this with me, or do you want to skedaddle? Up to you, Forrest.
I mean, I'm down to watch this. What did they? Yeah,
we can just do a quick, maybe 5-10 minute reaction to this together. Now that, you know, since I have you here, but let me just try to pull up a stream here where I can go back in time a little bit. Okay, let's bring it in, and you should be able to hear this. Let me know if you can't hear the audio. It's just okay. There it is. There's your audio. Sorry, folks.
All right, please be seated.
Forrest, can you hear that?
Yeah.
Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict.
You ever been on a jury, Forrest?
No, I have not been on a jury.
It's fascinating.
Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District.
So you just read them.
State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict,
Audio
count 1. Court file number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19.
Yeah.
Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no. Juror number 2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 9, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 19, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 27, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 44, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror
Dude,
number
keeping it on.
52, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number
Aye.
55, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 79, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
I'm bugging out.
Juror number 85, are these your true and
Yeah.
correct verdicts?
Yes.
Each
Juror
one.
number 89, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 91, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Juror number 92, are these your true and correct verdicts?
Yes.
Are these your verdicts, so say you one, so say you all?
Yes.
Members of the jury, I find that the verdicts as read reflect the will of the jury and will be filed accordingly. I have to thank you on behalf of the people of the state of Minnesota for not only jury service, but heavy-duty jury service. What I'm going to ask you to do now is to follow the deputy back into your usual room, and I will join you in a few minutes to answer questions and to advise you further. So, all rise for the jury. You seated? With the guilty verdicts returned, we're going to have
Yeah.
Blakely, you may file
lot
a...
People on the cell phones. I see the thing that really just feels like the nail in the coffin whenever I hear cops talk about this shit is like the fact that like the cops would be like, well, you know, it's hard to do your jobs with fucking body cameras. Like it should be hard to fucking kill somebody. Like it should not be easy for cops to fucking assassinate somebody. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you have to watch like everything you do, they're like, oh well, it's not fair to like make us like watch every move we make, like so that people can watch it back later. Like, no, that is 100% appropriate. We should know what fucking cops are doing. We should know what moves they made. You shouldn't be able to, if you like turn off your body cam, like if it malfunctions, it should be instant termination. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least like if there isn't a situation and you're something like, oh, like no other job can you do that. You can't be like they're like, oh, let's just check the camera in the break room to see like if somebody stole money. You're like, oh no, like the camera broke and I was in there all day. Like, no, like they would say, all right, well, you're fucking fired. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know what I mean? Which it's not like only cops can get away with being like, well, my job's harder if you're filming me. Like, you watch fucking Amazon right now. They're doing work surveillance in every fucking possible manner to the point of even tracking people's movements. And cops are like, oh, like, well, we carry weapons, but you know, we can't. You guys shouldn't be watching us. You guys shouldn't know what we do. Like, and I mean, it's having like, you know, it's their idea that they have like justice. I guess the law and the justice and justice are one, which obviously they aren't. But like, you know, the idea that they're like, even if they have to bend the rules, like it's all in the name of justice. And it's like, number one, no, the fuck it isn't. Number two, like we should still be able to watch you. Like even if we decided as a society that your function, like the way it is 100% what it should be, we should still be able to watch you do it. Like.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be a hard job. You shouldn't like. That's the thing, though. You can go to like, you know, community college for a couple of years, decide to be a cop, go into criminal justice, become a cop, like, you know, barely get trained for it, and then, and like a lot. I mean, not everywhere, obviously, because a lot of places, you know, they wanted someone who's had a 4-year degree. Which obviously, having a 4-year degree and all the training in the world, you could still be a fucking sociopath getting involved in those roles, and those are still. But like, still, like. A lot of times cops are like, you know, barely fucking trained. Their training literally trains them to want to shoot people as a first result, like a first option, because they're constantly in fear that their lives are in danger, or, you know what I mean? Like that's what they're telling themselves. And they're, you know, it incentivizes people with like violent temperaments to get involved into that job, and people that want to be within a hierarchical power, like a power structure where they're the ones being in the enforcer role rather than the enforced. Like, all of those are bad. Like all of those are already red flags. But then on top of that, like the gangland mentality of cops is fucking ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. I hear actually this next part is good too. So let's Just want to make sure I catch this.
Written argument as to Blakely factors within 1 week. The court will issue findings on the Blakely factors, the factual findings, 1 week after that. We'll order a PSI immediately, returnable in 4 weeks. And we will also have a briefing on, after you get the PSI, 6 weeks from now, and then 8 weeks from now, we will have sentencing. We'll get you the exact dates in a scheduling order. Is there a motion on behalf of the state?
Your Honor, the state would move to have the court revoke the defendant's bail and remand him into custody pending sentencing.
Bail is revoked, bond is discharged, and
he hates
the defendant is remanded to the custody of the Hennepin County Sheriff.
Bye,
Anything
bitch.
further?
All
right.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah, but you know they're
Maybe a long-
remanding him in custody of a sheriff, and he's going to still get way better treatment than, you know. But I don't know. I'm of two minds. Number one, I think that he obviously is a fucking murderer, and this is good news. But I guess I would also say to temper the excitement, because it's a year later. No federal laws have been changed to make policing to make it so that less people are going to get killed. In fact, while this fucking jury went on, a cop killed a black kid, whose George Floyd's girlfriend had been his teacher at one point. Like,
They can't stop.
in the same city that was happening in. So it's like, which, sounds more like a warning than fucking anything, but from the cops, I mean. But it's like, these big things haven't changed, at least federally, to make it so that less people are going to be killed by police. But it feels kind of like, every once in a while they throw a cop in jail to kind of satiate the mood for change. It's like, well, justice is served on this one. But at the same time, I mean, look at what happened with the cops and Breonna Taylor. You know what I mean? Like, they all pretty much got off. The only thing they got charged with was shooting into the neighbor's fucking apartment. So, I mean, it's good news, but I would say that, that it's definitely not justice being served in the sense of making sure this doesn't happen again.
Yeah. Forrest.
It literally happened while the court. Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. We need to abolish the police. But I was wondering if you'd be down with there's this thing on Twitch. It's called a crab rave. Okay. It's called a crab rave. So when someone bad dies, or for instance, when Derek Chauvin's going to prison, we have a little, we let loose a little bit. We have a little bit of a party. We have a crab rave. Did you want to have fun with our crab rave with us for a couple minutes here? It's about to start. Yeah? All right, here it goes.
Oh!
Fuck Derek Chauvin. Dude, he murdered George Floyd. Here they go. Yeah. All right. We had a. So, Forrest, I think that's a good time to wrap it up. I want to thank you for your time. Again, we've invited you in the spirit of building leftist unity, strength, and power. In that sense, you've been a wonderful guest on the show. This is us planting the seed for future conversations where perhaps some of the chats we were having where we put a pin in it, let's resurrect those important ones and keep bringing them important things to our viewers' minds.
Yeah, sure. I'm always down to come back.
Awesome.
Let me know. Very good conversation.
Let's do this again. All right. We will chat with you soon. Peace to you and solidarity, buddy.
You too.
All right. Thanks, Forrest. Peace. All right. Yeah, that was Forrest Miller. Hey, YouTube. You're watching a clip from my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/iDanSimpson, where you can follow for free and subscribe for only $5 a month. Thanks for watching.